second seed Ball State, the higher seed in the white uniforms here, shooting that down to broadcast right. You could not have picked a better November evening to be playing soccer here in Buffalo, New York. A clear night, 55 degrees, as we have kicked off here in our second semifinal. Winner heads to face the host, UB, a 1-0 victory over Miami, Ohio here earlier this evening. That game will be here this Sunday. 1 p.m. kickoff here for the MAC championship. Throw-in is taken away by the Cardinal on the far side. These teams familiar with each other, second meeting here between them this season. Game played October 2nd on the campus of Ball State University, a 2-0 win for this Cardinal side. But both teams have come in playing their best soccer of the season here of late. Both unbeaten in their last 5, and throw the records out the window as you take a look there at the series history. Though Ball State has not just that recent victory, a huge lead all-time in the series, 16-6-4 all-time series advantage, looking to press the action early on. But no such luck as the ball's volleyed all the way back onto the Cardinals side of the midfield stripe. Driven out far sideline into the Falcon bench and out for a throw just over a minute here into this contest. As Millis here for the Cardinal will send it back in. Both teams with a couple of very impressive scores. There's that ball has ricocheted, referee's whistle back behind the play. And a reset here for Bowling Green.
In the lookout for Bowling Green's number 24, Kennedy White. She's going to probably be generating most of their offense, as she is the leading scorer in the conference and MAC Offensive Player of the Year. 12
goals for White this season to pace all scorers in this contest. Ball driven on the far sideline. Beautiful ball forward into some space. Ball State's defense being tested early on. Ball rolling slowly towards the near sideline and just does get out of the reach of Buffet for Bowling Green, who had a nice run there up the left side. Falcons kept off the board in that early matchup, and their offense trying to flash early on here. Dysoloff will throw it in. Knocked down, comes back near sideline, held in. Buffet's ball into the box. Dangerous positioning there for a moment, but cleared out here and driven, in fact, quite some distance back down towards the midfield stripe by the Cardinal defense. Ball loose in the midfield, picked back up here. Cardinal defense certainly been the busier of the two sides here in just our 3rd minute of play. On the near sideline, ball sent in, searching for a teammate, not forthcoming as Elgert sent it in. Volley back to the far sideline. Chip there by White, high in the air. Coming back down on the right sideline and volley back out. Space to be had on the far sideline, pass sent forward there. But out of the reach of everyone. Rolling all the way back out will be a goal kick here. And first chance to take a look at Bowling Green's netminder, Lily Berg. For Berg, it's her 19th appearance of the season, 9-5-4 record, allowing less than a goal per game here this season. And for both these teams, goalkeeping can be a big part of it, as there goes one of the other big parts of the Bowling Green attack is Kennedy White. Nikki just mentioned her a moment ago. MAC Offensive Player of the Year, wearing that captain's armband, had her first real look at possession before it's knocked out here near side for a Falcon throw deep in Cardinal territory. The Falcons coming in here off their quarterfinal victory, a 2-0 victory over the Broncos of Western Michigan. Ball sprawled back near side looking for Buffet. Bowling Green has liked this near sideline here so far. They've been directing a lot of their attack at the right side of the Ball State defense, but to no avail so far.
You can tell both teams have really brought the intensity and energy. Bowling Green may have had a little bit more of the possession so far, but Ball State has definitely handled it well.
Beautiful ball sent forward, looking for Bryn Gardner, but out of the reach of everyone, picked up there by Lily Berg. Two unshakable keepers here in this game. Look at a game that may just be coming down to one goal, one moment. Berg's goal kick driven back across midfield, headed onwards. Ball State with the bye as of the second seed. Didn't have that game in the quarterfinals, and wonder if Bowling Green comes in a little bit, not fresher, but they've played much more recently. I wonder if that plays a little bit to their advantage here in the semifinal contest.
It definitely could. Both of these teams has obviously also traveled to get here. That plays a factor in how tired your legs might be.
I'll chip back across midfield, and we'll see how that comes into the usage for both coaches, really, in their benches here as well, if you get some tired legs out there, especially in the second half. Ball searching on the far side, looking for a teammate coming in and sprawling out to kick it away. Beautiful defensive play there by Lexi Smith for Ball State. Goes on far side for another Falcon throw here, 6 minutes of action. Mackenzie Ruber here for the Falcons will send it back into play. We have seen a lot of the ball down here to our left here so far. Another Falcon throw here in quick succession. Delaney Caldwell there for the Cardinal on defense. Caldwell gets a foot in, comes back to Ruber, far sideline. Off of Caldwell and right back out again. Trying to work some sort of passing play over there on the right sideline, and Caldwell is having none of it. It's back to Ruber right off of her, and that will switch the field here. Trying to work a give and go there with Maya Dean. Back in by Millis. Ball's knocked down, played back inside. Taken there by Dean. Falcons looking to press forward. Headed back out towards midfield. Some chances, some space here in the midfield.
See if Ball State can get him on the quick transition here. It looks like Bowling Green has definitely gotten back on defense.
Elgert on the near sideline. Elgert on her right foot. Looking for an avenue into the box. Drives a shot, a one-hopper on. That is smothered and held by Lily Berg. First shot of the contest here comes from the Cardinal. But Berg equal to the task, saw that one all the way, and with relatively little incident. Sends her team forward here for her kick. These are keepers that are very difficult to beat on both sides. It may take a high volume of shots and quality shots at that for either team to put one in here today. Ball State did get 2 past her in October, a task that many teams have not been able to replicate. This one sent all the way down to her counterpart. Picked up there by Moser, and goal here for the Cardinals tonight, number 32. Alsop. Slides across the field. That one stop just past the midfield stripe. Knocked down by Caldwell. Near sideline. Elgert. Going for a run on the near side, trying to find some space. Cuts back to her left foot. Has some room there in between a couple of Falcon defenders. Ball sprawls into the 18-yard box and is knocked back out away. Nice run for Elgert, who's had a couple of good looks here so far for Ball State. And that one ricochets ultimately off a Cardinal leg of Alsop, retreating defensively on for a Bowling Green throw. Dyseloff sends it back in here for Bowling Green. Comes back to her, is just able to tightrope the line and hold it in. Hear that one echoing off the Ball State player, and right out there for another throw here near sideline. Dyseloff, the senior midfield player, handle a lot of those resets and throws here from this near side. Very confident defending here so far from the Falcons. That ball charged ahead into the night sky. Bouncer looking to send a teammate in onside behind, but couldn't get it past Caldwell. Ball chipped down, dangerous position here. The Cardinal defense able to get it away. Ultimately all the way back here. Zerwan. Nearing 10 minutes gone by here, first half. Scoreless action in our second MAC semifinal here in the women's soccer tournament. That one is out far side. Ball State throw here right in front of the Cardinal bench. Well, the Cardinals do certainly have a noted advantage in the series between these two teams. Bowling Green leads all MAC teams all time in conference tournament record, 21-7-7 all time in MAC tournament play. Let's get a good look there at Ball State coach Josh Reif in his 4th season here at the helm for the Cardinal program. Free kick from that far sideline just past midfield here for the Falcons. Almost everyone crowded just at the top of that 18-yard box. Set into the night sky. One hopper, high hop. And you talk about the traveling and not being used maybe to this field there. A little bit of a higher hop than Moser may have expected, but able to collect it and get it out. A lot of space there for the Cardinal defense to work with, and they've been attacking this right side, but this time to no avail. Dysalov trying to get back to it. Taken away from her there. Knocked down. That one ricocheting off of Dombrowski on the near side, out for another Falcon throw.
Only about 10 minutes in, but it's definitely an even match. I think both teams have kind of settled in just a little bit.
These are teams that are pretty familiar with each other too, so for these coaching staffs, they have a lot of tape to work with too. So look at what worked, what didn't work when these teams met here just about a month ago. That one rolling all the way back here to Moser.
Definitely both teams kind of just evenly matched on paper in a lot of ways, hence why they're at the 2 and 3 seed.
Cardinal defense being given a lot of space and time to work with here these last couple of possessions. Bowling Green just setting back, letting the attack come to them. Not letting anything get in behind, and that ball rolls away. Taken back defensively there by Alexi Serwin. Back for Berg, who drives it away far side, headed on. Ricocheting around, pinballing at the midfield line, comes back near side. Turning it around is Buffet on the near sideline. Buffet charging ahead. Buffet, left-footed cross in, attacking is Moser. It's off her defender out the back for a corner.
Buffet definitely utilizes her strength out on the wing there, which is her speed, getting the ball out in front of her, out of her feet, so she can run onto it a little bit more.
And there's another look at that last play. Buffet using her speed, good spatial awareness, had Dean charging in there. Defensive play needed there from Lexi Smith. The ricochet's out the back. First corner of the match here for the Falcons. It's Mackenzie Ruber, number 20, for Bowling Green, will stand over it here from the near side corner. Plays it short. Gets it back now, charging that one towards the back post. A lot of bodies there. Ball is knocked down in a dangerous position and shipped out on the far side wide of goal for a goal kick. They elected to go short and then have Ruber drive it back in. To get another look at it here. Most dangerous chance so far for the Falcons. Had a couple of teammates there. It got off a couple of them. Ultimately, Kennedy White did get a piece of it, trying to turn it towards goal, but was not able to test Moser. So after one chance for Ball State, now one good chance there for the Falcons. Shots unofficially one aside at this point. 14th minute of play here at UB Stadium in Buffalo, New York. Cardinal defense being given again a ton of space to work with here. Able to pick on a target. While knocked down by Kennedy White. Headed back to her. It's off a Cardinal player. Sent back across midfield. Knocked down by White. Her pass to the far sideline. His teammate streaking ahead into the play is Ruber. Ruber up the far side, sends that one into the box, and that one into the waiting arms of the keeper, Bethany Moser, who will hold on and send her team back away. Speed for Bowling Green on both sides of the field now has been giving Ball State's defense a little bit of a problem. They found some space there.
That back line on the Ball State side is definitely dropping once they lose the ball. They may have one player that stays with Kennedy White, but it was because she went into the midfield to receive a pass that player followed her, but the rest of the line definitely drops off.
Over 15 minutes gone by here on our second semifinal. Again, the winner of this contest has a date with top seed and still unbeaten in conference play, University of Buffalo, here this Sunday for the automatic bid into the national championships. Ball pivoted away nicely there. Cardinals looking to send some players forward here on the far side. Shut down again there by the Ball State defense. For the Ball State coaching staff, they have to be encouraged by what they've seen here early on from this side. Not caring that the lower seed, not caring about the series history, not caring they lost to this team earlier in the season, just coming out and playing their game and really taking good control of the pace of play here so far. Pass searching for Ruber on the far side. She was onside, but the pass was a bit short of her.
Yeah, it's win or go home, right? You got to leave it all out there on the field. Kind of what happened prior really is irrelevant. Yes, you're going to learn from things, you're going to study, but at the end of the day, it's win or go home.
Beautiful run there in the middle of the field. Long distance shot sailing just away from the near side corner on a beautiful individual effort. Ultimately not requiring a save, but a beautiful move there. Lexi Fraley of the Cardinal going 1-on-4 with the Bowling Green defense and almost forcing the keeper into a full stretch. Will be a little disappointed by the shot at the end of it, but did a great job winning a couple of battles there to even get herself in that position. Ball comes out near side for a Bowling Green throw. Have a look there at the Bowling Green coach, Jimmy Walker, in his third year at the helm of the Falcon bench. White trying to work herself free, but Ball State's defense standing tall there on the back line, headed away. Chip far sideline into some empty space, forcing the Bowling Green defense back, if nothing else. Serwin. Ruber up the far sideline. That one out into the Falcon bench. Falcons the higher seat at the home bench here, down to our left. Shots to this point, 2 for the Cardinals of Ball State, just 1 for Bowling Green, but 1 for each side on goal. Ultimately 1 save for each of our 2 keepers to this point. Ball ricocheting. Knocked down a lot of players there. Forward for Ball State. They have some space. Distant shot, and they score! Sails over Berg under the crossbar and in. And here in the 18th minute, it is 1-0 to Ball State as the second seed takes the early advantage.
Definitely a strong shot taken from distance.
Right off the throw and almost out of nothing. It is Corcoran from some distance, almost catching Berg by surprise on her heels and put it exactly where she wanted to.
Yep. She got her head up, saw the keeper was off her line a bit, and just took a chance on goal.
And for a first half that has seen a lot of possession at the other end of the field. What a moment for Ball State here early in our second semifinal. A huge early advantage here. Bowling Green looking to press right back. It's off a leg, and out for a quick second corner here for the Falcons. Goal at 18:09 here of our first half for Corcoran. Just 1 goal in the regular season, and now a second here.
Bowling Green's been here before. They had a come-from-behind win against Northern Illinois recently, so they're not new to this.
And a lot of game yet to be played here.
100%.
26 minutes left here. Second corner for the Falcons from the far sideline. Curling in. Dangerous position. Teammate on the back post. Ricocheting around. Still there. And now fought out by the Cardinal defense. Maya Dean had a look there for a moment on a beautiful cross in there by Dysalov. We've seen a couple of really good looks here from the Falcons here so far on set pieces. Bowling Green's offense doesn't seem to be too stymied by that goal the other way, coming out right and attacking, but here's some space on the counterattack here again for the Cardinal. Your sideline ball is stopped down. Fired in far side, couple teammates streaking for it. Goes out the far side and out the back for a goal kick. Good job working the defense side to side there by the Cardinal. Couldn't quite get a teammate on the end of that pass. Dysalov. Fought for at the midfield strike. Dragged back and held in. Physical midfield play here between these two teams. White. Far side of the field there. Ruber stepping into it, but it's out of her reach. And now for a throw. Millis to send it back in here for Ball State. Just over 20 minutes now gone by in our semifinal. Corcoran, the goal scorer here for Ball State, has given the second seed a 1-0 advantage here in our first half. Off a foot and incrementally up the field. The Cardinals go here throw by throw. Talk about the resolve for Bowling Green, not just that come from behind win at Northern Illinois, unbeaten in their last 5 contests, at very least drawing those last 5, so they have to feel comfortable in their ability to get a positive result in spite of this negative start for them. Ball forward, skipping away from White, but held on here by the Falcons on the attack. Lots of room there for Ruber on that far sideline. Ruber looking back towards White, headed away. Knocked out at the top of the 18-yard box, space just inside, and a good defensive stand there by the Cardinal. Trying to work it across midfield there as Elgert hit off the heel of the defender Dysalov, forcing her back. Go back ahead into some empty space. Serwin. Back here for Lily Berg. Tapped across the field. White, collision coming together. Out on the far side for a throw. For as physical of a game as this has been for the first now 22 plus minutes, really not a whole lot of whistles here. Referees really letting them play.
Definitely let them play through some things, yep.
Ball ricochet is down here. Headed on by White. Ruber off ahead, second header, a dangerous position to be in as a defender, but able to clear it up over the crossbar. And a third corner there as Jordan Jeffers defensively for the Cardinal had to launch herself out of that one.
Those balls crossed that are going to land somewhere right on top of the 6-yard box are going to be so effective, whether they ricochet off a defender and back into its own goal or you get a piece of it as an attacker.
Third corner of the match here for the Falcons, as Mackenzie Ruber will take it here from the near side flag. Just past 23 minutes gone by here in our first half. Ruber into the box, hit off the top of the framework, and that will be a goal kick.
On the 2 corners that Bowling Green has had, they've definitely mixed up the strategy they're using on playing it in short, on a 1-2 pass on the first one, and then this one serving it into the box with a lot of runners.
Ruber almost able to curl that one out in front of goal and draw it back inside that top corner. Giving the Ball State defense a lot to think about there with all those different looks they've given them on those corners. All knocked down near side here. Elgert pressing ahead to her right. Some space to be had now for Elger pressing forward. One-on-one battle here with Daiselov. Cuts back to her left, trying to find an avenue to get a pass off, though, and ricochets off of Daiselov. And for the first time here, a corner at the end down to our right here for the Cardinal.
You can tell Elger likes the ball at her feet. She's definitely someone who is a technician and likes to take defenders on one-on-one.
Lexi Smith will take the corner here for the Cardinal. They have a short option here on the near sideline. You see there on your screen. And a number of players running to this ball on the back post. Headed out to the top of the box. Read well there and handled well by the Falcon defense. Give it a couple good looks visually there, but weren't able to find a friendly head in the box. Chipped on the far sideline. Ruber able to knock it away, trying to get around her mark. Ruber, ball curling back inside, is volleyed away. Numbers forward here for the Falcon. Lost possession there in midfield. Up the far sideline, ball stayed back across the midfield stride. Switching sides near side, Elger able to head it down. Taken by Jeffers. Her pass ahead is blocked. Elger forced back and go all the way back here to Moser. Jeffers. Knock back. Forcing her back one more time to Moser. Taking advantage of the space they're being given defensively by Bowling Green. Not really pressing these defenders forward, but they do force a turnover in the midfield. Ball is held in. Space splitting the defense into the 6-yard area. Pass across the face of goal. Knocked out just shy of the line. Volleyed out the back. It'll be another corner. Lexi Smith in there, Moser in there as well. You get a good look here coming up. A beautiful run by Bethea splitting the defense. And again, it's a sprawling defender, this time in Lexi Smith, who has to come across and answer for that. Fourth corner here already on the match for the Falcons, and they've had some decent looks here. The more you get, the more the odds are in your favor here. 4 corners for Bowling Green to just 1 for Ball State to this point. This one served in by Moser, back point, punched out. Kept in a dangerous area, volley on there, and that one will get away from the Falcons. Read well there. Tough play to make for the keeper, Moser, but you got across and was able to punch that one free of danger. Another look at it here. One of the advantages of having such a clear night for the keeper. A little bit easier to track the ball. Didn't lose it in the lights here, as it is firmly nighttime outside here. Late fall here in Buffalo. Ball tapped down here. Cardinals with a lone goal here in our first half, looking to press the action, try to find a second. They did when these teams met back 1 month ago. While pinballing around here in midfield. Your side sent ahead by Jeffers. Some space to be had. Beautiful run in behind. Ball just curling away from its intended target. Volleyed out the far side. A good thought, and there was certainly some space to be had there for the Cardinal attack.
Yeah, well played ball over the defensive line. Made it dangerous. Coach Jimmy Walker there for Bowling Green. Very good start for his Falcons side, but they have had their struggles here on those kind of quick counter-attacking plays. It was a goal for Corcoran that happened seemingly in an instant off a throw-in from that far sideline. He's had the keeper off her line, and
Able to tap it in over her. Another throw from a similar position there now on that far sideline. Maya Millis, who has been taking a lot of those throws and took that throw that led directly to the Corcoran goal. We'll send it in here again. Corcoran trying to work herself free. Collision, bodies tangled up there, and for one of the few times here tonight, as Lexi Fraley fighting for positioning, we hear a whistle, although this one is on Fraley, who gets up maybe a little disappointed that she did not draw a foul there. You see a lot of contact there between her and Mackenzie Orton.
The foul that was called was a dangerous play, is what it looks like, with the referee his arm in the air for an indirect kick.
And back across midfield, Bowling Green looking to press forward here off that indirect free kick space on the near side, but a ball out ahead of its intended target in Lacey Buffet, and that one will roll on back here for a goal kick. Half an hour gone by here in our first half. For Coach Josh Reif here and the Cardinals, the result he was hoping to see here through half an hour of action. And our first substitutions of the match coming on here, both for Bowling Green.
I haven't said much, but I am on the edge of my seat. This is an exciting game to watch, very back and forth. Both teams definitely bringing the energy, and you can tell they both, there's a feeling of them both knowing that, you know, it's win or go home.
That's Elena Unkefer and Ellie Poole, the two subs for the Falcons. And we've been lucky to have a great day. Now the second consecutive exciting close game here played at UB Stadium. UB in Miami, a one-goal game, a late goal for UB. Hannah Callahan sending the Bulls to the semifinal, to a semifinal victory into the final this Sunday. And already just one goal here in what promises to be an exciting fight to the finish. Happy to have you here with us here on a Thursday night. There's a collision in that one, a quick whistle, the quickest whistle I've heard so far tonight, and a foul called there on Ball State's Dombrowski. And this one on the far side of dangerous here, and you get another look at it here coming right up. Referee wasting no time there, caught her right on the inside of that left foot, and Katie Cox thankfully right back to her feet. 35 yards out of goal, driven to the top of the box. Cox trying to press it forward, comes out near side. Will be a throw here for Bowling Green in a very advantageous position here for the Falcons. In quickly by Dyselov. Headed down, volleyed away, and that one almost cleared everyone. Knocked down by Serwin, who was the last player back for Bowling Green, standing at almost exactly midfield. On the far side, Unkefer, one of the two subs for Bowling Green, gets her first touch of the contest. Getting some fresh legs on what has been attack, pressing forward here very frequently as much as they can, using their speed to their advantage, the Falcons. That ball dials out sideways here for another Bowling Green throw. Falcons looking for an answer here. Trying to find a way to get back to even footing here before a halftime whistle blows. Space to be had near side for Dyselov. Curls it back in. Some bodies there, driven on, and a big save made by Moser. Got down to her right and took it away.
Some fantastic attacks that are happening from the Bowling Green side.
Volleyed out again. Another throw here for the Falcons, who press forward and now buoyed by this play as Dyselov's ball got in. And what a save made by Moser, down to her right at full extension. Katie Cox read her well and put it where she wanted to, and Moser just a hair better on that play.
Yeah, Moser even traveling to her left and had to extend back to her right on that shot.
Foul on the Falcons will give the Ball State defense a momentary reprieve. Moser, the sophomore goalkeeper from Mason, Ohio, with a save of the night here so far. And not just that, keeping this game in her team's favor. Still 1-0 Ball State here. Under 12 minutes remaining in our first half. Falcons looking to keep this pressure going. Looking for that pass to the near side, but it was not able to get through to Poole. Knocked back ahead. Dean, the top of the box, shoulder down, ball bouncing into the 18-yard box. Poole curls the shot. Moser off her line to punch it away. collided with one of the Bowling Green players as well, and both of them very slow off that collision. Moser working out that leg. Another look at it here coming in, just gets tangled up as she punches that ball free.
The shot may not have been, probably more of a cross. It wasn't on goal, but had she not made that touch, there was a runner on the back post that likely would have made contact and would have been a goal for Bowling Green.
Both players back to their feet. They're off that collision. Ball bounces back in. Was knocked away from Moser, who might have been able to collect that one. Shit back towards the goal, and that one's sailing out for a goal kick. And you can kind of see Moser there working out that knee. Fixing her left cleat there as well. Moser earning that moment of help from her defense. She's been helping them out. 3 saves here tonight already for Moser. She has been the more tested of the 2 keepers and has stood tall already with that brace as well on that left knee. So her health certainly something to keep an eye on here as this game goes on. Just over 10 minutes remaining here in what has been really a fast-paced first half. These games can fly by with the action that we've seen end to end here. Not just another game between 2 teams with a storied history, but a chance to go to the conference final, play for that automatic tournament bid. This game meaning everything here to these 2 sides. Followed out here quickly. Another throw here for the Cardinal. Maya Millis sends it back in. Quickly played down. Ball State's offense hasn't had a whole lot to show here for it other than their goal. Looking to take some pressure off their defense as that ball tight ropes the line for a good 40 yards before it finally does make its journey out of bounds here for a throw. Millis again will send it back in. Kennedy White. That one plays back, ricocheting around, and that is last off of Unkefer for Bowling Green. Will be a goal kick. Strong positional defensive play there for Maya Millis. Goal kick taken short there by Moser. Just one player in Kennedy White is doing so, but for the first time here, really some pressure being applied to that back line. They were being given a good 15-20 yards of points there. Alexis Miller, third sub to check on here for Bowling Green. Indirect free kick now from the far sideline. Sent short by Millis. That's a facing the time, but Ball State really having some trouble timing up these runs. They haven't been able to create a whole lot of space. They had one run where they got someone free, and
yeah, the momentum has definitely shifted to Bowling Green as far as their attacking opportunities, but Ball State has held on strong.
Ball State looking to change that narrative there. Play on the far sideline, looking to get it to Lexi Fraley. Sliding in to knock it away from her is Ruber.
It's a good time tackle there.
You have to time it well coming in from that angle like that with the referee right on top of the play. And another good look at it here. Ruber in, as clean as a whistle. Far side for a Cardinal throw. Ruber, seen her offensively, saw her there defensively, part of why she is an All-MAC first team player here this season. All knocked back to Millis on that far sideline. There's over 7 minutes remaining here. First half action in semifinal number 2. Ruber will escort that ball and guard it out for a goal kick. Another sub here for the Falcons. Have not seen any changes to this point here for Ball State, although there is one player over with Josh Reif receiving some instructions. May see their first sub soon. Ball comes out near side here for another throw. And Nick, you talked about traveling here. It's a long day. It's late in the day at that here, playing in the second semifinal. Could be a test really of the energy of both these teams.
Yeah, kind of cliche, but who wants it more, right? At the end of the day. Who's going to bring that energy? Who's going to stay disciplined? Who's going to be sharp during the moments that you need to be? Who's going to be focused?
It was just one moment of greatness offensively for Corcoran that has been the difference here to this point, and really talk about keeping that focus. Games like this can change so quickly, and it doesn't take a whole lot for one play like that to be the deciding factor. Two keepers who don't allow much more, or in one case less than a goal a game.
Yep.
Beautiful pass near side taken down by Poole. Poole lays back for Dean. Sliding pass across the field. Alexis Miller gets her first touch. Ruber on the far sideline, able to hold it in. Ruber curling that ball inside the box, at least for a moment. Knocked down by Unkefer. Back in, looking for Poole. Dangerous position, shot changing directions. And ricochets out near side for a corner.
Bowling Green's knocking on the door. It almost feels like it's a matter of time that first goal is going to come from them.
Nice ball in there by Unkefer, came through, and that shot by Riley Clark was tattooed. But unfortunately for her, a strong defensive play made there, and it still barely missed that near side post. Fifth corner of the match here for Bowling Green. Under 5 minutes to go here in our first half. Driven towards that back post again, headed out, top of the box, volleyed back on, header high in the air. Moser off her line, and she will scoop it up and hold on. And again, it's Clark who started that play, and it was Lexi Serwin, number 23, who got the last touch to it for Bowling Green. Moser's had to go to her left, she's had to go to her right, and a couple of saves off the turf makes that one out of the air. Bowling Green has done just about everything other than score. You talk about it feeling like they're due for one. They must feel offensively like they've done about everything they can to this point and just haven't been rewarded. Seventh shot already for the Falcons, just 3 for Ball State to this point. But ultimately for the Cardinal, they can look at the more important number mayhaps, the one that did go in.
Yeah, it's just how soccer plays out sometimes. On paper, you can be the one that's got the most shots, the most scoring opportunities, if you will, and that one breakdown can cost you the game.
Ruber on the near side there. You try to use your speed maybe on the near sideline. She was playing on that far sideline for the first near 40 minutes. Another Falcon substitution here. I believe their 5th change here in our first half. As Kennedy White will get a late reprieve here in the half. Jana Searles will come on. Some fresh legs in the offense here for the final few moments of our first half. Bowling Green trying to find that equalizer. Serwin. And really for a lot of these plays, every player, with the exception of the keeper Lily Berg for both sides, past the midfield stripe. There's Serwin again. Chipped ahead up the far sideline, trying to send Unkefer to it. Comes out the back, and that will be a goal kick. A lot of this first half has been really the speed of Bowling Green and how Ball State has been forced to respond to it defensively, especially on the outside.
Yeah, it's almost like they're weathering the storm after they scored that goal. You would hope maybe teams, when they score, keep the momentum train going, but they kind of settled in a little bit, and the shift in momentum has definitely been Bowling Green the rest of the way. And
for Ball State, really a goal that was kind of out of the course of play, just a throw in. Noticing the keeper off the line, taking advantage. Their offense has not had a whole lot to show for this first half. Bowling Green's offense, on the other hand, looking to keep their pressure going here. Unkefer on the far side. Left-footed ball into the 18-yard box for a moment, but again, just standing tall on top of it are the Cardinal defenders. Curled in by Poole. Referee's flag is up on that far sideline for an offsides. Under 2 minutes remaining here in our first half. Chance for one last offensive foray here for both of our sides. Driven back near sideline, chested down. Ball ricochets free, taken here by Searles. Far sideline for Unkefer. Unkefer, nice move to step inside into some space. Unkefer forward, teammate there towards the back line, but too much on it. Ball rolls away from her. Looking to get it there to Searles. It's out the back. It's a goal kick. And no one may be happier for the impending halftime whistle than Bethany Moser. 7 shots to 3 for Bowling Green. I believe 5 saves to this point for Moser as well. That ball curls out far side for a Falcon throw. Again, on that far sideline. Ball State maybe not opposed to this game getting to halftime there. Taking a couple of easier plays out there for touch. All ricocheting around in midfield. Tangled bodies and a foul is called. That will be against the Falcons as Dombrowski got caught low there on that right leg, and she is slow. Get another look at it coming up here. That is a tough tangle up there. Not the intention of the challenge by Searles, but kind of caught her coming back.
Yeah, looks like her ankle got tangled up underneath.
And a good look at it there on that slower replay. Just, I think soccer sometimes gets a reputation as a sport where there's a lot of players searching for contact. There is a lot of contact in this game.
And minimal protective equipment.
Stoppage here with just 11 seconds left in the first half as Dombrowski is back to her feet trying to work out that ankle. It's been a very physical first half there. Minimal fouls called as well. We'll see if that more than likely carries over here to our second half. It'll be a free kick here for Ball State from some 70 yards away from goal. Just 11 seconds before the halftime whistle. Driven up the far sideline. As you hear the countdown behind us here, played out to the far side. Driven up past midfield. Ball is knocked down there by Searles. Ricochets back around, and there was some space to be had behind the defense mayhaps, but the defense had heard that countdown and maybe played a little bit further up the field as we have reached our halftime here at UB Stadium. It is Corcoran's half, the second seed Cardinal in the white uniforms will be shooting on the net down to broadcast left here in half number 2. Third seed Bowling Green in the orange uniforms with the white numbers on the back, shooting the net down to broadcast right. Nikki Bartholomew here with me, Jeff Boyd here on the call here with you this evening. Happy to have you here with us from UB Stadium here in Buffalo, New York. It's picture perfect of a Thursday night here in November as we could have possibly envisioned when this tournament came here this weekend.
Buffalo is known for its wind, and it is not breezy, windy at all. It's perfect.
55 degrees at kickoff, no breeze to speak of. This game could have been 20 degrees colder and 20 miles per hour windier, but we're blessed with this tonight.
That's right. It is November in Buffalo.
Quick throw in by the Cardinal, trying to find some offense here in the second half. They did generate 3 shots and 2 on goal, but even the goal and a lot of their offensive possession felt like it happened a good 25, 20 yards away from the keeper. Whereas Bowling Green, attacking left, attacking right, had a lot of moments in that first half where you thought they were for sure going to find that equalizer. But Moser stood tall, the defense stood tall, made some plays when they had to. That ball is getting away from the defense and is just held in on that far sideline by Abby Elgert. Ball State defense has been busy here today. And another thing that we noticed as well in that first half, Nikki, is this. We saw a lot of changes for Bowling Green, not a whole lot. I don't know if we saw a single change for the Cardinal of Ball State. Wonder if that will wear on some of those legs, especially defensively here as our second half goes on.
Yeah, they obviously have a strong starting lineup, Ball State. But like you said, let's see what their stamina is like.
That ball is played out here near side for another Ball State throw. So a couple good pressing plays forward here from the Cardinal early in our second half. Forcing another throw in an advantageous position, and Maya Millis, who set up the play that led to Corcoran's goal. The lone goal here of this contest. We'll throw it in here again. This one sent towards the box, bouncing towards the top of the 18-yard box and volleyed out near side. Mills retreating will defer, and something we did not hear a whole lot of in that first half, a whistle and a foul called against Corcoran. It's Katie Cox for Bowling Green. Took that shove, and will be a reset here on this indirect free kick. sailing into the night sky and headed onward. Again, we saw a lot here in that first half. A lot of players forward here for the Falcons into the near side of the box. Ball fought forward towards the touchline, and it is escorted out and will be won for a goal kick. And Grace Alsop there defensively for Ball State. Strong positional defending and awareness there as well, both to know who made less contact with that ball and also to be able to stand strong and box out the Bowling Green player. Alsop sends that on the near sideline, knocked down by Cox, played ahead. Driven down by Mackenzie Ruber. It's a handball. And a free kick in an interesting spot here for the Falcons on the far side of dangerous. About 30 yards away from goal here on the near sideline. Closer to 40 yards now as Ruber sets up. Almost everyone forward here for Bowling Green.
Everybody's back for Ball State, too.
Ruber, curling ball, searching for a teammate. Back post punched away. Not out of danger quite yet, but is now cleared out of the 18-yard box. And again, off her line quickly, reading it well. Bethany Moser got out there, did not like what she saw. A number of players there. And sometimes having so many people back, even for your own side, is just such a crowd trying to find that ball through a sea of humanity. Moser does well again. Almost feels like a lot of how the first half was played. A flash for Ball State before extended pressure there by Bowling Green, and a beautiful takeaway in midfield. And numbers forward here for the Falcons. Chip far sideline. Carried free just on the outside of the box. Volleyed away by Corcoran. And as the camera pans down to the left there, you see just the 3 orange jerseys. Ball State has not had a lot of players past that midfield stripe here for extended points of this game, but that will help in that regard as the ball gets away from Mackenzie Ruber out for a throw. Millis. Throw on one hop and a foul here on the Falcons. Almost more fouls than we saw in the first half, it felt like, already here in the first 5 minutes. That one on Lacey Buffet. Ball driven towards the box, bouncing high in the air. Taken down. Played away by Katie Cox. Knocked down by Dean. Dean has a teammate in behind, but off her line, reading that one all the way. And keeping that one away from Riley Clark is the keeper, Bethany Moser. And just a quick turn there by Dean. Had a teammate onside and in behind. And Moser reading that one all the way. That's Bryn Gardner, number 9, not number 4, who made the run in there. That one's volleyed off far side for a Ball State throw.
Great idea by Bowling Green to get the ball in between, in the through ball behind the defending Ball State. What that does, getting that keeper off the line, it's going to open up looks because she's going to maybe play off the line, and you could see another goal like we did for Ball State.
Near side knocked down by Buffet. Give and go, gets it back into space on the near sideline. Buffet curls that ball in, actually ends up going towards the keeper, and that one just taken out of the air there by Moser. It's been a lot of the offense run through the 2 sidelines. Another look here at this last play forward by Buffet. She and Mackenzie Ruber, her opposite on the far side, have been the catalyst for a lot of this offense here so far for the Falcons, as that ball ricocheted away from the Falcon defense for a moment. But they do a good job recollecting here. There's a foul behind the play as well on the Cardinal. And that will lead to a reset here for the 3rd seed Falcons. Almost a handball there as well. Ball just gets a little bit behind of Abby Elgert, and there's the tug and the foul coming up right there on that push. Another ball headed onward. We've seen Bowling Green use that kind of setup a couple times, trying to play the ball shorter and draw the defense up and get in behind.
can see the game's getting a little bit more intense this half as well. A little bit more physical play.
There's another foul there. You talk about the physical play. Referee has been responding as well. A lot more fouls here on both sides here in our second half than we saw per minute in that first half. Not even 8 minutes gone by here, and that, by my count, might be the 4th foul already. We saw 6 total in the first half. Ball volleyed on, taken there, and collected by keeper Lily Berg. Allowing less than a goal per game here this season. By that mark, Ball State in their 2 contests with 3 in 3 halves have been as good as anyone in putting it past her. And you wonder if in a game like this, if they can find a second one, if that would be enough to punch their ticket through to Sunday. On the far side, some space here offensively for the Cardinals. Curled in by Elgert, and on the end of it there to play it away is Lexi Serwin. Ball ricochets out far side. Held in just shy of the line. Ball comes in, trying to get their players for both teams. Is held in here by the Cardinals offense. Curling shot, teammate on the back post, played away by Serwin. And taken out ahead to Buffet. Gruber. Forward, tap down. Delaney Caldwell. Caldwell getting on the end of this run here near side. Caldwell cuts to her right. Lots of space here for Caldwell. Caldwell curling ball in. Knocked down in a dangerous spot. Played by Serwin. Goes back to Caldwell. Caldwell trying to charge ahead.
See the referee, the no call on the ball that touched the player's hand.
Space on the far side of the box here now. Some of the best sustained, maybe the best sustained offense we've seen here today from Ball State. And finally, Bowling Green's defense able to get the ball away. We mentioned Delaney Caldwell, MAC Freshman of the Year. Quiet at points in the first half, but showing her skill there and almost creating a second goal here for the Cardinals. Moser gets the ball here, settling down her team near 10 minutes gone by here, second half. Second seed Ball State holding on. 1-0 lead here. You would feel for the Ball State offense as the game goes on. There's another foul there called on Bowling Green as the Falcons need that goal and may have to get a little bit more desperate. There will be opportunities for their offense as that defense presses forward, that backline presses forward to create some more offense. You get another look there at Delaney Caldwell, MAC Freshman of the Year, as well as an All-MAC second team nominee here as well here this year. An incredible freshman season for number 6 here for the Cardinals. Ball ricochets out far side off of Kennedy White. That'll go out here for a Cardinals throw. White with 12 goals this season across the field from her, 7 for Delaney Caldwell and 11 for Avery Fenchel. So certainly both teams having players more than capable of finding goals here this season. But some names we haven't heard a lot from here so far tonight. Turning around with possession here now is Buffet. Buffet puts on the brakes just inside the box, drags it back towards the end line. Buffet curling ball in, has a team out of the back post, headed on, they score!
That's a beautiful goal. And Buffet, for her to be as fast as she is, utilizing her skill as well on that, taking that defender on 1v1, and just a great cross in the right spot for her teammate to get on the end of it.
And finally, after all their offense, the Falcons break through as Buffet tees it up for Bryn Gardner, who heads it home. And with under 34 minutes left here in the second half in our second semifinal, we're back where we began, even footing one aside. And it's a beautiful ball in there, and jubilation on the faces of these offensive players for Bowling Green, stymied time and again by Moser and this defense, finally rewarded for their efforts. And the plot thickens here. A team in Bowling Green that you would think expected to be here. And there's a beautiful ball through, but just no one on the other end of it here for the Cardinals attack. It's out for a goal kick. A team with the history, the success in these playoffs. May have taken a change of direction here. We actually might have a corner kick here. 56-minute goal for Gardner. It's her 6th of the season. And it will, in fact, be a second corner of the match here for the Cardinals. Chance for them to take a moment here to catch their breath as well. Fraley will defer to Maya Millis. As we saw in their first corner, short option here. A lot of players towards the top of the 18-yard box, towards that back post. As Millis sends it in. High ball in the air, bouncing up over towards the top of the box, played down by Bethea. Millis trying to charge it back in. A lot of numbers forward here for Ball State, but they can't seem to put anything together there. Combination passing as the ball ricochets out far side. Cardinals took the lead early on here in this contest, and Bowling Green has thrown about everything but the kitchen sink at them since then, and finally now have broken through here in our second half. Ball tapped down. And for Ball State, they had seemed content at points really to just play back, let the game come to them, not press forward too much offensively, and just hope they could stem the tide of the Bowling Green offense. Well, now no longer really an option. They have to find at least one more here to punch their ticket through to Sunday. Ball played ahead far side towards Bethea, but it's out away from her, out for a throw.
Yeah, let's see if we see Ball State step up into the attack a little bit more.
You see it there on your screen, the impressive record for Bowling Green, 21-4-4 in their last 29 games against MAC opponents, and in those games outscoring their opponents by the combined score of 61-16. This is a team that has enjoyed immense success of late here in conference play, and they expect to be here. They expect, you would think, on that bench to find a second here in our second half as well. Well, someone will have to find a way to play top seed UB here this Sunday. Ball stolen away in midfield. Now the Falcons back on the attack. Gardner slides that pass far side. Ball comes in towards Cardinals defense. It's knocked down in a dangerous spot still here for Bowling Green, but a good defensive play made there and played away by Alexi Fraley. As quickly as it's out, it comes back here to Dean. Gardner to her left, curling shot in, is blocked out the back, and it's a corner. And Britton Gardner, really the star here of our second half, had a good run early that was not rewarded. Gets on the end of the second goal, and now a slowed down Cardinal player there as well is Jordan Jeffers, who blocked that most recent play. Corner number 6 of the match here for the Falcons from the far side.
Seeing a little bit of a different setup this time again from Bowling Green on the corner kick.
From the far side, curling towards the middle of the 18-yard box, punched away, knocked down, dangerous position, keeper scrambling, back ball ricochets on a half volley, and is still there, overhead attempt, and that one out for a goal kick.
Love seeing that creativity even on a finish like that, trying to bicycle kick.
Creativity and confidence and as well in that play there by Bethea. You get another look at it coming up here. The scramble truly. Moser off her line to punch it free, and a couple of good looks there. Good effort there forward that is blocked away. Not a bad look from that kind of positioning. Ultimately out for a goal kick here. We do have a couple of Cardinals subs coming on here. So I believe Jordan Jeffers, who was struggling there a few moments ago, there will be one of the players coming off. That's Sammy Bird, number 19 for Ball State, who was checked on. As the Cardinals try to find an answer to the problem that has been posed to them here, especially in the second half. How do you solve this Bowling Green offense when they're coming at you with the pace and tenacity that the Falcons have here? Coach Jimmy Walker has to be resting a little bit easier here than he was at the halftime whistle, because they weren't being rewarded for those offensive efforts in the first 45. But here now, just over 16 minutes gone by here in our second half, they've already found one, and they've been knocking on the door of a second. Throw on the far side for the Falcons right in front of their bench. And here's a look at that collision there, and tough one for Bryn Gardner there as well. Very physical second half here between these two teams.
Yeah, much different than the first, where there was barely any fouls, not a whole lot of contact.
And we talk about solving the Bowling Green offense here for Ball State. They also have to solve their own offense here as well. Just 3 shots, 2 on goal, and unofficially, I think that goal may have been the most recent one that they've had. They have been struggling to find this kind of space offensively, and a strong play there by Serwin defensively for the Falcons. And right back the other way comes Bethea. Bethea to her left in some space, cutting across the field. Bethea will try to lay that pass ahead, couldn't get it through. A collision and a foul called on Kennedy White. And that will stop this most recent attack here from Bowling Green.
Bethea's playing with a lot of confidence, like you mentioned before. It's fun to watch her attack and go to goal any chance she gets.
And Kennedy White got her money's worth on that foul as well, right into the back of Lexi Smith, who will take this free kick here for Ball State as they reset. Caldwell trying to slide that pass ahead, read well and knocked away. Talked a lot about the offense for Bowling Green tonight for good reason, but Serwin and that defense here for the Falcons as well have been stout. Goal from distance notwithstanding, they have not really allowed Ball State's offense to get any sort of momentum going. Millis throws forward. Ball volleyed away by Serwin. Tapped down in midfield, taken here by Katie Cox. Ahead for Bethea. Steps through some contact, still has it. Bethea for another run here on the near side. Left-footed curling ball in, a one-hopper into the arms of the keeper Bethany Moser. And again, looking there for Kennedy White. White with 12 goals in 18 games played here this season. Looking to find lucky number 13 to perhaps give her team one more game on the schedule. Contact and a foul there called on Delaney Caldwell.
Yeah, Bowling Green just got position on her a little bit, and
referee saw the push and saw the player go down, but I hesitate to say there may have been a couple of seconds of extra action in between there. Fouls now 6 aside. Both teams already with as many fouls here in the second half as we saw in the entirety of our first half.
Yep.
Just 19 minutes gone by here in half number 2 that has seen all those fouls and has also seen a Falcons equalizer. 6th of the season from Bryn Gardner, the freshman forward that has given Bowling Green new life. Ball ahead here to White, trying to work away around the defense, but a strong play there made by Lexi Smith. And another whistle. Going to be a handball called here. Taken down by the Bowling Green defense. Cox in midfield, plays near side. A lot of space here on this near sideline to work with on the counter here for the Falcons. Charging ahead with it is Ruber. Her pass is blocked. Nice play there by Corcoran. A pile of bodies there on the end of it. Referee lets that one play on as the Cardinals try to take it back down the other way. Back here near side, Serwin surveying. Takes it down. Serwin. Tapped down by Cox. Ball curling ahead towards the Ball State back line where it is driven out for a throw. Bowling Green is really coming at this Ball State defense every way they can, and now getting a couple more pairs of fresh legs out there here as well. And for Lacey Bethea, who will be one of the players who checks off here, a much-deserved reprieve after I felt like she just ran for the first 20 minutes of this half basically non-stop, as well as setting up the equalizing goal.
Yeah, let's see if the subs can keep the same level, if not raise the level of play with their fresh legs.
Tip back towards the midfield stripe. Knocked down, turning with it, Katie Cox. Trying to slide that pass ahead to Ellie Poole, fresh off the bench, but it's cut off on its way through. Second spell of action here for Poole today. On the near side, that ball played ahead by Elgert. Volley down, chipped ahead. Nice combination play knocked down here by Kennedy White. Maya Dean. Searching on that far sideline for team coming here. It's Unkefer who's on there as well. A collision there on the near sideline. We'll have another look at here coming up here for you as Unkefer trying to come inside and it's tangled up there with Alsop. It will lead to this free kick from the far side. And a warning for Alsop there as well from our referee. Far sideline about 40 yards away from goal. We've seen Bowling Green put together some pretty good looks from plays like this already here today. Ball driven on, one hop off ahead into the arms of Moser. Played ahead by Elgert on the far side, deflects out for a throw. That's Riley Clark, number 4 for Bowling Green, set to check in here. Seen a lot more of the death here for the Falcons here today. Trying to keep those legs fresh on the attack especially, and keep that Ball State defense on their heels. Another throw here for the Cardinals on the far sideline. And with that whistle, we'll get those pair of substitutions in here now for Bowling Green as you have a look there. Dysalov who will take this throw in. Jaden Frigerio, number 10, is the other sub who has come on here. As quickly as it's in there by Dysalov, right back out here for another throw. Just over 20 minutes remaining. Trying to find here, both teams are now, what could prove to be the game-winning goal. Much like in our first semifinal we saw here tonight, tied very late going into our second half. Ball State hoping that top seed magic reigns through here yet again as that ball is volleyed on and read well and quickly by Lily Berg, who rolls it ahead. Played by Frigerio, far side out here for another throw. 24 minutes now gone by here in our second half. First half Ball State goal answered by Bryn Gardner, 6th of the season for Bowling Green in our second half. Towards the end line, that one is ricocheting out just shy of a corner. Will be a throw here for the Cardinal from just about as far down the field as he can be.
It seems that both teams are a little bit content maybe sometimes to play the ball long as opposed to keeping it and finding those shorter passes to keep possession of the ball.
Triggered back into the 18-yard box off a leg, curling ball towards the far side, and a teammate there. Ball chested down, kept in a dangerous position, but the Falcons defense will recollect themselves here and volley it out at least momentarily away from danger. Ball hopping back near side, headed on by Ellie Poole. Overhead play comes back towards her. Lost her positioning there for a moment, and that will allow the Cardinals to have some room here on the counter. Ball forward is blocked away, and right back to Poole, who sends it up the near sideline, but out for a throw.
I think it's going to be the more disciplined team here that minimizes mistakes, plays to feet more. It's going to be the team that's going to score a goal and take the lead here.
And you talk about minimizing mistakes in a game like this, so tightly contested and this late in, it can't just be one mistake that really decides this contest. Ball State substitution here, under 20 minutes remaining here in our second half of this tied contest. That one off a leg out for another throw. Just inching their way up the field here, the Cardinals on that far side. They scored their goal here so far today off a throw. Maya Mills will be hoping that you can send one more in as such. Ball taken down. It's about 20 yards away from goal, but the Bowling Green defense has really not given the Cardinals a whole lot to work with in terms of real estate here, even more so as this game has gone on. Really after that goal maybe serving as a bit of a wake-up call for Bowling Green in their own end of the field.
Yeah, they're not giving Ball State a lot of time with the ball. Having someone pressure the ball at all times.
All taken down here by the Falcons on their side of midfield, charged ahead, and now for another throw. And as quickly paced as the first half, far second half was, pace has certainly slowed down. It feels like after that Bowling Green goal, both teams maybe more conservative mindset, trying not to, we talk about making that mistake. If there is one to be made here, that can be the deciding factor here. Ball ricocheting down near side, out here for another throw. Falcons offense looking to ratchet up the pressure as they have done so many times here. Frugero throws it in. Frugero. Ball bounces back down middle of the field. Flag down in some space. White trying to work herself free. Taken away by Caldwell. Knocked away by Frugero. Frugero. Her ball forward towards that far side, but no one there in orange, and it goes out ever so slowly for a goal kick. For Moser, who had a stellar first half, has made some nice plays here in our second half as well. It took a perfect setup to get one past her. Will the Falcons be able to find a second one here today? Alexis Miller checks on here for Bowling Green. And plays that ball ahead on the far side. Onkefer. Some space here in the middle of the field. Has a teammate there. Charge shot from some distance. Blocked down. And played away here by the Cardinals defense. Turn back ahead. Kennedy White knocked off her foot towards the end line. Saved by Millis, at least from a corner, out for a throw. Frugero triggers it back in. Gets it back, looking across that one, and hits off a defender leg towards the top of the 18-yard box. And crazy backspin on that as players go spilling down. Ball is still free. Cox trying to step in, wins enough positioning to allow our teammates a chance at it. But the ball comes back towards midfield. Delaney Caldwell around one, trying to step towards it, but it's played away from her, back down the other way. White trying to work her way in behind the defense, but that ball read well by the Cardinals defense and headed back into the awaiting arms of their keeper, Moser, who rolls it away. So take a look here at the last bit of chaos down in the Ball State defensive zone.
Yeah, a lot of awkward moments there. A lot of flailing bodies, but the whistle did not go.
And you wonder if the referee, not that referees would ever do such a thing, but try not to maybe be as much of a deciding factor in what could be a potential season deciding goal for both these teams late in their second half, as long as there's nothing too egregious. Frugero. High ball into the night sky, bouncing down just shy of midfield. Space here on the near side on the counterattack forward the Cardinals. Played head middle of the field by Frenchel. Frenchel towards the far side, but no one home. They're on it for Ball State. Picked up there by Lily Berg. And for as much of a story as Berg has been at points of the season for Bowling Green, she has not been the focus of a lot of our attention here tonight. Really, after that goal, she has not seen too much of that ball at all. Ball bouncing down. Everyone waiting for it. Taken here by Ball State. Frugero. Charged ahead, chested down. Onkefer trying to fight for some space on the near sideline. Ultimately did lose her footing, and it's out for a Cardinals throw. Under 15 minutes remaining here, and for the first time really tonight, a batch of substitutes coming on here for Ball State, as well as one notable sub here for Bowling Green as Lacey Buffet is checked back on. There's Delaney Caldwell coming back on the field as well for Ball State. Buffet's assist on the goal as they're fixing that cleat again of the keeper Moser, which led to that pause in play there. Never did quite get it right, it feels like, after she got clipped late in that first half. But it's fixed now. And back into play we go. Just over 14 minutes remaining here in our second half. Tie contest in our second semifinal. Caldwell stepping through, trying to set it up for a teammate there, streaking towards the top of the box. It's played down here by the Cardinals. But is trying to get that combination, those players forward all together in unison, has been their struggle here today. Bowling Green's defense equal to the task there yet again, and now in midfield. Buffet on the far sideline trying to wheel it free, and does. Buffet up the far side. Got two players on her. It's off a leg, and that one bouncing back. And will be last off of Buffet. And that will be a goal kick. And as quickly as she's back on the field, back causing chaos for the Bowling Green offense.
Yeah, she's now on the left side.
Giving that Ball State defense a whole different look as well. Ball is blocked down by Miller. Played forward, ricochet ball back towards, and now past midfield. A couple bodies coming together, and some space here for Ball State. Ball tapped ahead near side and rolling into the arms of Lily Berg. And a dangerous look there as Lexi Fraley had some space for a moment. And here's a good look at this last play. Played it through and just gets tangled up there with Dysalov. Caldwell back on her half of the field. All the way back here. Moser. Ball knocked out in some space here for Bowling Green. Buffet back in looking for a teammate on the end of that one. And it's knocked out far side but held in by Buffet. Triggers another one back in. Headed on. Low shot and a save made sprawling to her right by Moser, who smothers and covers it and holds on.
Bowling Green's knocking on the door again with some attacking chances, mostly coming from Buffet again.
It's Unkefer who got on the end of that last chance and turned it on towards goal. And a nice save by Moser, and right back on it. Here comes the attack again of the Falcons. It's Buffet. Buffet into the box, curled shot, and that one just wide of goal. Looking for that near side, sorry, for that far side post. It's out for a corner kick. Lucky number 7 corner kick here of the match here for the Falcons. And they've had a lot of different looks, as you mentioned, Nikki, on these corner kicks. We'll be interested to see what they do here. How they plan to attack off this set piece. Grouped up just at the top of that 18-yard box. No short option present right now.
Yeah, before the players on the last corner, they were lined up deep near the net.
High arcing ball towards the back post. Headed out to the top of the box. Half volley up over the net. And out for a goal kick. They've had about as many different looks on a corner as you can draw up in one game. There's another look at it here. All you want from a play like that is one good chance towards goal, and they've been getting them more often than not. Under 10.5 remaining second half here. And you wonder if 10.5 will be enough here to settle it between these two teams.
Yeah, so if this ends in a tie, there are 2 10-minute overtime sudden victory that we will see. I know probably neither team wants that to happen.
The UB team, who I'm sure is here watching, will be more than happy to see this game go past 90 minutes. They get the winner on Sunday here on their home field and wouldn't mind a little extra wear in the legs of the opposition.
Absolutely.
And we'll see if it comes to that. Neither team looking to relent here.
So
far side space here for the Cardinals. Just outside the box, curled in, left-footed pass forward. Has a couple teammates there. Caldwell got a shoulder on it, and it's volleyed out by Bowling Green. Still in a dangerous spot. Collision bodies coming together. Referee says play on. It's sticking away from Corcoran. And on the counter-attack here, lots of speed on that far sideline. Flag down by Buffet. Buffet's pass ahead, trying to get to Unkefer. Got a tap to it, and it rolls away from her into the arms.
So correction, I apologize. The 2 10-minute overtimes will be played in full There are other conferences in the nation that do sudden victory, but the MAC is 2 full 10-minute periods if it is still tied at the end of regulation.
We get ever closer to that moment here. Under 9 minutes remaining here in our second half. There's a whistle there on the far side. Maybe the player setting it back in, going too far up the field there. I think we've seen that a couple times here on both teams here now, trying to a little bit of gamesmanship that goes in, try to take as much space as the referee will give you to try to get the ball further up the field. Ultimately, will be a throw in here now for the Falcons, as Yosman Daisolov will take it in. Buffet, the star of our second half, trying to find a little more magic in those cleats. Dean, there with her far side off a leg and out for a Ball State throw. High in the air there, off the boot of Serwin, towards the Bowling Green bench. And now for a Bowling Green throw. Under 8 to go on our second half. In by Daisolov. Middle of the field play down by the Ball State defense. Like we saw for a lot of the first half, especially late on. As soon as the ball comes across that midfield stripe for Ball State, right back on the attack. Here comes Bowling Green. It's Buffet. Has a couple teammates with her. That one just, though, behind Unkefer and played away by the Cardinals defense. One back forward again. Right back to Buffet. Buffet gets around one. Goes down on some contact. Ball rolls out the back. And that is a goal kick, much to Buffet's dismay. Get another look at it coming up here. Gets through one, and I think that was a valid question asked by Buffet of our official.
It's tough as a referee in those critical areas of the field. You may see things a little bit differently if it maybe happened at midfield, but referee says no foul.
Would have been just inside the 18-yard box at that, so maybe a little bit of even higher bar to clear there for an 84th minute penalty kick. Just over 6 minutes remaining here in our second half. Bryn Gardner, 6th of the season for the Falcons of Bowling Green, has drawn us even, and there we have stayed for half an hour. That one's out for a Ball State throw on the far side. Elgert, who just checked back in here for the Falcons, will send it back into play. Ball contested and played down. Some good space there, but a foul called. It's on Ball State. Referee now playing advantage there, and this will be a very good spot here for this free kick here for the Falcons.
Yeah, he did delay his whistle a little bit to see how it played out, but then ruled obviously that there was an advantage.
Moved it back a good bit there. 20 yards outside the box here. Free kick from the far sideline. 5.5 to go. Daisolov. High arcing ball to the nice guy. Bounces down. Played down and played out by the Cardinals defense. Rocketed right back in. Top of the box. Chipped down. Played by Serwin. And now Ball State will get it at least a little bit further away. Well, ricocheting right back towards the top of that box. On the far side, some space to be had there towards Buffet. That ball worked through into some space into the box, but nobody home for Bowling Green. Played away by the defense here of the Cardinals, who are being tested. Truly their resolve here in these final minutes. Bowling Green, an all-out attack shot from some distance. A one-hopper into the arms of the keeper, Moser. Bowling Green now seeing a finish line here, at least for regulation play, and they've ratcheted up the attack here yet again. Dean with the fake on the pass, saw some room ahead of herself and took that left-footed shot on. Moser called into action yet again.
Just some final entry passes that could be a little bit sharper on Bowling Green's end to create more of a scoring opportunity, although they are getting chances into the attacking third.
Nearing 4 minutes remaining here in our second half of action. Ball turned ahead. That foray forward is blocked towards the near sideline. Slid out off a leg, and I think the Falcons defenders may have done just not quite enough there by Ruber to win that ball the other way. It is a Ball State throw. Millis with the throw in. Volleyed away. Played across midfield. Headed back ahead there by Smith. Comes back towards her. And now Buffet back on the near sideline. They're changing up the look they're giving this Ball State defense, trying to see what combination they can use to find a game-winning goal. Ball towards that far corner will just be held in here by the Cardinals on the offense now. Dragged into the box. Space to be had here for Ball State. That ball curling towards the near side, but nobody home. Out for a goal kick. Another look at it here on this pass from Lexi Fraley. Hoping she had a teammate crashing that near side post, but unfortunately did not have a friendly white jersey to be found. As Lily Berg will send this ball back into play here. Under 3 minutes remaining in our second half. Foul called on Bowling Green there. Referee let it play on for a moment on that grab. There'll be a chance for the Cardinals to at least get some players forward here, something they have not been able to do a lot here in these last 10 to 15 minutes especially. They group up on top of the 18-yard box with 2 minutes, 18 seconds remaining here. Lexi Smith standing over the ball. "25 yards outside the 18-yard box as Lexi Smith sends that ball into the sky. Had it on. Teammate was there, but the ball, too much pace on it. Rolls out the back. See what hit last. May have hit off a Bowling Green player last. It could be a huge moment here for the Cardinals. Indeed, it will be a corner kick. Another look here at the free kick, and indeed, you can see it there on your replay. Last off a Falcons defender. Just the third corner of the match here for Ball State, and what a moment for it. From the near side, ball curling, back post, teammates there headed down, but a wall of orange in the way, and it's volleyed away from danger. 90 seconds remaining in our second half. Chance here for the Cardinals, who haven't had the majority of chances to find one there, and now for Bowling Green, mayhaps to turn it back up the field and throw one more offensive set at this Cardinals defense. Played ahead by Kennedy White, ball chipped on, one hopper into the arms of Moser, and maybe not what Bowling Green was looking for there, as Moser able to see that one all the way from some distance. Moser back across midfield with 60 seconds left in regulation. Ball knocked down, driven back towards Moser, off her line again on the end of that one. We'll scoop it up with 45 seconds left in the second half.
Both teams are definitely getting their final pushes into the attack.
This may be the last real chance here for either offense to get some build up here for Ball State. 30 seconds left and counting. Away from Buffet out near side. It rolls out for a throw. Now just 20 seconds left. One last chance here for the Falcons in our second half. Played ahead by Katie Cox, knocked down defensively, taken away, played by Lexi Smith past midfield. Ball volleys back near side. White trying to get to it, trying to fight for positioning, does get to it. Long distance shot into the air, into the arms of Moser, and 90 minutes is not enough. We have reached the conclusion of our second half, and just as we started at 7:30 here tonight, we are at even footing, one aside. Bryn Gardner, the lone goal scorer here, first of 2 overtime halves. We talked about it earlier on. These are two teams, they traveled here. This is late in the day here now, past 9 o'clock. The test of the resolve, the energy, and the fitness of these two teams to punch their ticket through to Sunday's championship game. Ball State will start with possession here in our first overtime, and as quickly as they do, it's out for a Bowling Green throw here. Ball State did dip into that bench more in the second half than they did in the first, trying to keep those legs fresh here, especially with the reality of overtime staring them in the face. Throw in an advantageous position here for Maya Millis. Batted on into the 18-yard box, and as quickly as it's in, right back out towards the midfield. Taken down here by Delaney Caldwell. Caldwell curling that ball ahead. That one gets away from everyone and out for a goal kick. Looking to mayhaps trigger in Emily Roper, who you saw there on your screen. Ball State offense has really been stymied here tonight, even on that goal. A beautiful shot by Corcoran, but just comes in on a throw, sees the keeper off her line and drives it in. They have not had that kind of sustained offensive pressure that we have seen from this Falcons team here tonight. They'll need a little bit of that, one would think, if they are to find a winner here in our 20 minutes of overtime. Caldwell, one touch to her right, plays ahead. Roper back. Curling ball towards the edge of the 18-yard box, bounding towards the near sideline, and volleyed out for throw. Nearing a minute and a half gone by in our first overtime period. As Maya Millis will set up here again. Played down by Bethea. And Mills will just watch that one sail out for another throw here. Bethea really one of the stars, if not the star of the second half. Doesn't get the goal, but gets the setup, as well as a number of setups that could have been. That ball curled in, blocked just inside the top of the box. As Ball State will get some players forward there, but not able ultimately to test Lily Berg. Millis taken down, played back near side in the direction of Delaney Caldwell. Caldwell, that one ricochets off the back of the Bowling Green defender. Ball gets through everyone back towards the top of the box, and really one of the few times here we've seen Bowling Green have to play in their own end for a couple consecutive minutes of late.
I think if you're Ball State and you're the player on the ball, you're not seeing much movement from your teammates off the ball to create options and keep the ball in possession.
There goes Bethea using her speed in space. On to the far sideline. Bryn Gardner. Gardner's entry attempt is blocked away. Played back across midfield, forcing the Falcons defense back. In fact, they'll go all the way back here to Lily Berg. Just over 7 minutes remaining in our first of 2 overtime halves. With the weather here today, no real advantage playing one way or the other here, as they'll switch ends for the 2 halves. Wind a non-factor. The flag down to the right of the broadcast. I don't think it's moved at all. A foul there on Ball State. For as foul heavy as the first 15 minutes of the second half were, referee certainly used a little more discretion in that final half an hour. Ball driven towards the box, bouncing ball coming down towards the touchline, held in by White as a teammate in front, boxed in a sea of bodies. Ball works free and able to get it away ultimately from Bryn Gardner, who was trying desperately to work herself away from a couple of Ball State defenders, but ultimately Moser able to find the ball and take it away. Good job there by White, just saving the ball from going out for a goal kick. And sometimes it can just be a play like that, 94 minutes into a game, that could be the deciding factor. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, it looks like Gardner just was swarmed once that ball got played in. She was swarmed by the 2 defenders.
Was trying so desperately to turn to her left and get that quick shot off, and just got bracketed by Elgert and Smith for the Cardinals defense. Throw here for the Falcons. Just over 4 minutes gone by here in this first overtime period. There's Mackenzie Ruber, who will take this indirect free kick. The Buffalo logo looming behind her, and really looming behind both these teams, whoever can advance to play that Bulls team this Sunday.
I'm sure if the Bulls are watching, like you mentioned earlier, they're excited that these teams are playing an extra 20 minutes.
Ruber, that ball bouncing ahead, headed towards the top of the box, knocked down by Katie Cox. A collision, ball taken free by Ruber, and the referee's whistle blows on a foul against the Falcons. So we've reached the midway point here of our first overtime. It's another look here at the contact, and it's that leg coming through there from Katie Cox. That is what the referee will signal that play dead for. Cox back on the end of it there for Kennedy White. Cox Slides near side for Buffet. Buffet fades to her left. Now goes there. Buffet still with it. Teammates there. Cox lets it go. Gardner's shot and forcing a save down to her left. Reading it right and making a huge save is Bethany Moser. And again, it is Buffet who starts it. And good deferral there. Huge save there made on Maya Dean by Moser. Her best in some time. Dean. Buffet. Buffet cutting inside with it. Buffet had a chance, and that one just over the head of Bryn Gardner. And now for a goal kick. Now quickly this Bowling Green offense can flip the switch and just pour it onto this Ball State defense. Under 4 to go in our first overtime.
Yeah, we're seeing much of the same from the second half out of Bowling Green. Constantly getting forward, attacking, creating opportunities.
Katie Cox plays back here for Mackenzie Ruber. Ruber towards the top of the box, but that one read well there by the Cardinals defense. Back one more time for Ruber. Away far side, Dean charging and trying to get there, at least forcing the defense into an uncomfortable position, and they'll force that one out ultimately far side for another Bowling Green throw. There's just one player on the Bowling Green side of midfield. It's been like that at a number of points here today. Bowling Green has kept this Ball State defense pressed back. Still, the Cardinals have found a way to take it this deep into overtime, and at a point now where just one more goal could truly be all that is necessary. Under 3 to go, first overtime period.
Well, like we saw in the regulation time, anything can happen, right? You had so many opportunities being produced by the Bowling Green team, but just not able to finish. And then just a couple of opportunities by Ball State, and they were able to finish.
On the far side, ball is bounding down, held here by the Cardinals offense. Forcing Dean back all the way to the back line. Serwin plays ahead. Cox give and go with Kennedy White. On the far side. Looking to press this play ahead, and they do. Into the 18-yard box, if only for a moment off a leg. Still held in there. Jostling for positioning. Dangerous spot forward, but ultimately played away defensively there by Alsop. Under 2 to go in our first overtime. Some tired legs out there, you must figure, for both sides, nearing 100 minutes of action in total. And at least another 11 and a half ahead of them here. Ball driven back near sideline. Just into some empty space, if nothing else, here for Ball State to try to be able to press forward a little bit here. It's out for a Bowling Green throw, 80 seconds left in our first overtime. Mackenzie Ruber. And again, we've seen the referee very mindful of these players trying to take a little extra space up the sideline on these throws. Sends Ruber back. Not triggered in here. Cox. With 1 minute left in our first overtime. On the far side now, the Falcons. Third seed trying to get back to the conference championship here yet again. Ball is tapped, knocked down, taken here by Maya Dean. Far sideline, good strong positional defending there by Ball State. Cleared out through a couple of Bowling Green players almost coming together. Tough collision, ball goes out far side. But Woodhead had the referee not stopped it there in anticipation of this free kick. Missy Ellinger back to her feet quickly. 15 seconds left in our first overtime. One last foray down the field here by Ball State, and we'll see if Bowling Green has time for one more look of their own, although that clearance play forward is blocked down. Comes to White, who turns and fires one that is not even going to make its way through to Moser. Knocked down there by Jordan Jeffers, and our first overtime ends as our regulation time did. Tied at 1 aside through our first of 2. Falcons and Bowling Green will start with the session here. Shooting on the net down to broadcast left here on our second overtime. We are underway. MAC Women's Soccer Conference Semifinal number 2. Into now our 111th minute of action. Kennedy White, not just the 12 goals she has here this season. If she can find one here in our second overtime, could very well be what will be her 10th career game-winning goal, already 9 to her credit. Well played back, far side, Bowling Green backtracking there to midfield. Played forward, chip down. Knocked ahead towards the top of the 18-yard box. Lily Berg forced to come out and sprawl and cover that play. Another tall task that stands in front perhaps for Ball State if they do head to penalties. Lily Berg does not allow very many things to get past her. An incredible save percentage here this season. And here is Kennedy White for the Falcons. Far side for Bethea in some space on the far sideline. Bethea, face to her left, her pass in is blocked out for a corner. 8th corner of the match here for the Falcons. They've shown a number of different looks. We'll see how they choose to attack here in our second overtime. 90 seconds gone by off that 10-minute clock. And it will be Dijsselhoff who comes over to take it here for the 3-seeded Falcons.
Left-footed corner. You're going to see a bit of an in-swing.
Dijsselhoff looking to swing it in towards that back post. A lot of teammates there headed towards the top of the box. Not quite out of the woods yet. Dijsselhoff gets it back, chips it back towards that back post. A lot of teammates there and just splits the difference. Had a number of targets to choose from and just gets away. So Serwin there, Kennedy White there. It's out for a goal kick. There's another look at it here. Serwin did get a piece of it. I wonder if Kennedy White may have had an angle that she would have preferred had that ball gotten through to her. The story of the night really offensively for Bowling Green. Great looks, great pressure, and unfortunately for them, limited results. Foul on the Falcons. They're just shy of midfield. 2.5 gone by here in our second overtime. Mills will set up over this ball here. Drives it forward. Had it on play down, some space to be had here on the counter. Shot from some distance, and that one over the net through the American football uprights behind the goal, and now for a goal kick. A little bit of a fatigue play mayhaps for Dombrowski there. One of the few times the Ball State offensive players found themselves really in a spot with any space at all to shoot. Hard to falter too much considering Corcoran's shot for the goal was from even farther than that. Cardinals offense trying to keep this momentum going here on the near sideline. Emily Roper to the inside, left-footed pass to the far side. Has some teammates over there. Ball does not settle down nicely for them. Carried ahead. Ball chipped forward, had it on. And into the arms of the keeper, Lily Berg. Off that pass forward there by Browering. It is another look at it.
Definitely one of their better opportunities in a while.
Browering through to Roper. First shot on goal there for the Cardinals in quite some time. And again, this late into overtime, it really only takes one chance like that to possibly be the difference. The narrative about Bowling Green controlling the pace of play, controlling having more chances, that all goes out the window if Ball State gets the one chance that they need to find a second goal in this game. Lexi Smith. Nearing 4.5 gone by in our second overtime. Drawn through some space on the far side here for the Cardinals on the attack. Tap down. Played here for Roper. As a teammate ahead of her, that pass though, with a teammate having to check up and stay on side, is knocked away the other way and gets behind the Ball State defense. Here comes Kennedy White. Kennedy White on her left foot trying to cut inside, slid away out the back for a corner. And a huge defensive play there by Lexi Smith to stop the MAC Offensive Player of the Year from taking the ball back to her right foot and getting a look at goal. It's another look at it here. All she was trying to do is just wait out the sliding defender and try to get that shot off.
Yeah, the timing of that tackle was just right on. I'm sure if Kennedy White had that opportunity again, she probably would have maybe attacked the goal a little bit more from the outside of the 18.
9th corner of the match here for the Falcons. This time from the near sideline. Mackenzie Ruber standing over it. 5.5 gone by in our second overtime as Ruber sends it in. Ruber towards the back post, punched high in the air, not clear of danger, bodies everywhere, volleyed out, still in the box, still there, and now just knocked out ahead. So a lot of players forward here for Bowling Green as Ruber crosses it back in. Ball comes back near side, and a Cardinals player is there for it. Driven ahead towards Roper, knocked down by Ruber at the midfield stripe, back for Dysalov. Bethea away from her and some space for the Cardinals here on the counter attack, looking to send that ball in. It is onside, and it will stay down just shy of the end line. Left-footed pass into the top of the box. Cardinals trying to find a game-winning goal here. Through some contact, still with it. Taken in by Fraley, pass across the face, a goal, and a teammate there gets just away from Broering. Broering to the far side. Broering to her left, chips that ball in, took a change of direction, goes out the back for a Cardinals corner.
It's been end-to-end action in the second overtime. Both teams stepping up into the attacking mindset. They know the game's on the line. They have to score.
Late substitute there as Broering goes off and Delaney Caldwell checks back in here. 4th corner of the match here for the Cardinals. In the middle of the box. Volleyed away by the Falcons defense. Still in a pretty good spot here. That one, though, just out of the reach of its intended target. Rolling towards the end line and out the back for a goal kick. 2:37 and counting remaining in our second overtime. All standing between us in a decisive penalty shootout here. We talked about the keepers in our open here tonight and looked at how impressive they've been here this season. They are just a couple of minutes away from being all that stands between their two teams and their seasons ending, truly and even more so than usual in a penalty shootout. Falcons across midfield. Their offense not contented with going there. 118th minute of action. Across midfield, some space to be had here for Lexi Fraley. Slides that pass ahead. Ball State's offense, as we see it there, just a little bit disjointed here at points tonight. Dysalov. Across midfield, volleyed back. 1:45 to go in overtime.
You kind of see the mental fatigue settling in with both teams. The little mistakes that are made, little miscommunication is, you know, something that is easy to fix if we're mentally focused, but playing this long of a game, it can take you out of that focus.
Unkefer ahead for Bethea. Bethea looking to cut to her right end. Does Bethea, gets a shot. That one gets partially blocked. Does ultimately get through to Moser, but she'll be happy with how much steam was taken off that ball before it made its way ultimately into her hands. Dysalov. Unkefer taken away by Fraley, trying to get a foot in. Ball comes free. Chip back ahead. Dangerous on top of the box there. Comes back towards Bethea. Bethea across the face of goal. And a beautiful defensive play made there. Again, it's Lexi Smith. Body's tangled inside the box. Ball comes back in. And it's collected by Moser. Referee stoppage for a player down behind the play with 40 seconds left in overtime. As Lexi Smith, who had gone in there to make that defensive play, and she's been out there for, if not every, I think she might have been out there for every single second of this contest, Lexi Smith, for Ball State. 119 minutes and 20 seconds of action at that. Back to her feet. Referee will restart play here on this goal kick. One last chance here for either offense to find a goal. Chested out in midfield. Ball State trying to find one last chance here. to play the tournament spoiler against the 3 seed. Multiple-time tournament champion. Mac dominating Bowling Green Falcons. It's a handball. 22 seconds left on the free kick. Unkefer will defer to Dyselov. 18 seconds. 15. Everyone forward. 10 seconds. They have to take it now. Dyselov into the air, headed down to the top of the box. Nobody there. Lots of space ahead of the Ball State players, but as they do get the ball across midfield, it will roll its way towards Lily Berg, and overtime is not enough. 110 minutes of action.
Great when you score, but if you're the player that, misses, there's a lot riding on it, and it can be a lot of pressure.
The pressure turns to the other way, and a player we've talked about a lot here today. MAC Offensive Player of the Year, Kennedy White. Had some looks, especially in overtime, to Kennedy White. Looking to equal the tally here as she stands behind the ball. White, shot to the right. Keeper went left. 1-1. Very similar in terms of the composure and the shot choice there from both Corcoran and now Kennedy White. As the captain goes back to her side, and we go to round 2. Tiffany Torres, number 8 for Ball State. Senior midfielder from Clinton Township, Michigan. The building goes almost dead silent when they stand for these kicks. Torres goes the other way and drills it into the top corner. And so far, it's been an advantage to the strikers for both sides. These keepers haven't had much of a chance on these first 3 shots. So 2 for 2 are the Cardinals of Ball State. And here comes Katie Cox to try to equal it back up here against Moser. The way these balls are being hit, it could just be one save between these 2 keepers that could be the difference. Cox goes off the framework. Advantage to the Cardinals. Moser guessed right. The ball was over her head regardless. And now Ball State in complete control of their own destiny. Avery Fenchel, number 5, the 3rd in the line here for the Cardinals.
It's almost a confidence battle when you watch the keeper versus the player before the kick is done.
Fenchel waiting, goes the other way, and has bested Berg. The Cardinals 3 for 3, 2 kicks away from a championship game. And now for Bowling Green, a must score, you would think, here for Maya Dean. Moser back in goal. Silence in the building as Dean stands over it. Dean goes, and Moser read it. Knocks it away. Cardinals 1 goal away. Moser on the season with that 7-4-7 record of 1.24 goals against and 70 saves, and I think she'd trade all 70 of them in for 1 more. She may not need to. Jenna to Sunday's championship game. Shot, net. 2-1 in penalties. Ball State advances to play UB on Sunday.
Ball State